So I'm down here working on the roll cage. You can see that I have it tacked up to where I wanted it on each side. I got it level just by sort of looking through the windshield, whatever. Spaced it up off the ground until it was level on each side. And then I started working on the upper, or on the back bars, the backwards bars. So for NHRA cert, these have to be 30 degrees or greater, so they could be about like this. Okay, but I have it at about 45 degrees. And then back here, it's gonna weld onto that. So if you look right here, you can see that I have it notched. I just did that eyeballing it. It's not very good, but I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do it. This is just with a cutoff wheel and just kind of going a little bit at a time, fitting it and then put it in back. But I found an easier way. I did some thinking. I figured there was an easier way, and there is. There's a program at metalgeek.com where you can print out the exact template just on regular printer paper. And then you cut it out and then lay it on your pipe. Alright, so this is my 45 degrees. That's about what this is. So I'm going to cut this out, and then I'll place it, tape it around the tube, and then that'll be where I need to cut. Now you can see the difference between these. This is 90 degrees, so straight. Probably didn't even have to print that one off, but I did anyways. 45, and then look at 30. See, it's a lot deeper. Okay. So I'm just gonna do that. Jesus. Lay it out and go from there. Christ, that was loud. Now that I got this piece cut out, I taped it on there. Pretty simple. You can see I was pretty close. Need a little bit deeper in there though. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this pipe, and you can use either layout fluid or I'm just using cheap black paint. I'm just gonna paint it, throw a little bit of mist on there so you can see it, and then you can take this off and reuse it. I have that bar tacked in there, got it cut to fit pretty nicely. That'll work out well. So now that I got that side tacked up, I can go ahead and square this up by sort of pushing on this. You can see it still moves a little bit. Square it up in an X pattern, so I measured from a common point on the bar on each side across to a common point down in the, say, the bottom of the door frame. And then I'll build my next bar pretty much the same way as I did that one.
Get to the next plateau.
So I want to show you a little trick here. This is the seatbelt crossmember, which goes obviously across from here to this side. So what I did was I measured from the inside of this pipe to the inside of the other pipe where it's going to be mounted, and it's 41 inches. Now I have one side notched out. You can see that's pretty good fit. Now what I can do is I can take a tape measure, slide it in here so it comes up to there. That'll simulate, let's say, the passenger side. Okay, now I'm gonna hold this. I'll go down 41 inches, say it's right here. mark it. Okay, and then where I marked right here is gonna be the shallowest spot, or I should say the deepest spot of this groove. Okay, so that tells me my distance in between each post. So some people use DOM tubing for this, but I see a benefit to HREW, hot rolled, electro welded, or whatever the hell it's called. See how it's got this weld line? If you line up your line on your piece of paper on the one side to the other side, you're gonna have a straight, you're gonna have your grooves be parallel perfect. So what I did here was have that centered, and you see it's a little bit off. After I ground, it's a little bit off, so the center is a tad bit lower, so towards this side down here. So what I did here, got this tape down here, and I got it just a little bit offset. Alright, and then I'm leaving enough room so that when I cut it, I'll have a little bit of play, probably about an 1/8 inch, so I can keep grinding it down to fit, because obviously it's easier to take out material than add material. On a roll cage, you cannot take a tube and add more to it. It has to be one solid tube, otherwise it'll never be certified. So right now I got this bar wedged in here, and it's almost at 0 degrees. You can see that side right there has to go down a tid. So this is perfect fit, ideal right here. All you gotta do is take a little hammer, tap it till it's there. Yep. Perfecto. Look right here, you can see, according to NHRA rulebook, you have to have this bar either shoulder height or between shoulder height or 4 inches, within 4 inches of your shoulders. So I elected to have it a little bit higher up. That way, look right here, that hitch, so if it slips off, it's gonna slip off and come this way and hit this instead of hitting me. I could probably get away with moving it up a little bit higher, but this will do. For now, I'm just tacking it. And then the reason they want this either 4 inches below or at your shoulder level is because you want your seat belts attached to this, and your seat belts have to be coming around and holding you down. Otherwise, if the roll bar is up here, then there's all that slack that you could potentially move up if you end up rolling, if that makes sense. Now I'm bending out my hoops that go from the main hoop up, down, and then over like that. So what I did here was I used an online calculator and measured from the end to where the first bend needs to start, which I marked at 36.5 inches, and then you just line it up with the start of your bend, which is this, obviously the flange of this right here. I'll make sure to reset this at 0, so now that I have everything tight, you can see that it's a couple degrees off, so just bend this till it's at 0. Okay, call it good. And then when you get around the 80 to 85 mark, you usually want to check, because I noticed that this bender seems to go a little bit further than 90 for some reason, at 90. Close. So now I'm going to pull out the carpenter square and eyeball it. Probably one more ratchet left in there. Went halfway, check it again. Now the gauge is telling me I'm at about 89 degrees. That's about right there. Call it good there. Pull out the pin. Ratchet out of the way. crescent wrench. There's this. Pull this out. Because I like to make things difficult, this is a practice piece that I had for a 90. It's actually a little bit over 90 degrees, as you can probably tell. But anyways, my main hoop in my roll cage, the back support comes in like this, goes back, and then the one that comes to the front actually intersects in the middle of the curve. Well, if you look, maybe you can't tell, you probably can't tell in the video, but it's not a tight enough fit. Oh, there you go. That's where you can see it. It's not a tight enough fit with the standard 0 offset. I'm not sure exactly why this is. Maybe it's because the pipe gets a little bit thinner this way. I guess I'm not really sure exactly. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take a like a spare piece of pipe. You can see I have it inside my paper template here, and I'm gonna trim it until it fits and the whole thing is tight. And then I'll take another piece of paper like this, and I'll just make a new template. That way both sides are gonna be identical and they'll be tight, but I'll have practice on this piece instead of my already bent pillars. So that's a little trick. Building a roll cage. Take your time, make practice templates. Yeah. So I made this new template, and you can see the difference here. Difference is in the height of the peaks. So this allows you to get deeper. I think it's because the tube collapses to probably 1.5 inches. So you might be able to calculate that with that program online, but I just made another template based off of this pipe, which fits well on my curve. So here you can see I made a bracket. Basically it's a 1/4 inch plate, and then I took it and I split it and then bent it to 90 degrees, cut it to shape, put a little groove on the edges. And now what I'm gonna do with this, it's perfectly right in there, and this gives me a surface to weld my roll cage tube to. So I'll weld it all the way in, welds to all this stuff, triangulates everything, and it gives me a good surface. Right now I'm working on making these forward supports for this roll cage, and they're gonna be on the outside of the frame rails. It's gonna come right in between there, in between the frame rail here and this reinforcing bar that I have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make what's called an outrigger. Basically this is just a small piece. This is too small, but this is for example purposes. See how it's like that, right? It's just a 2 by 2 inch tube. It's not very thick, but it was cut like that. You see what I'm saying? So it has the vertical support. So you weld it on the frame like that, and then you can mount your roll cage to that. But I'm gonna use a thicker tube right here. This is 3/16 by 2.5 by 2.5. So all I gotta do, so I have two sides, all I have to do is cut off one 2.5 inch piece and then cut it in half this way. Pretty easy. These aren't the main supports, so they don't have to be quite as strong. Right here I have some mounts for my roll cage. I think these are called outriggers, and how I made these was just took some of this 6x2 1/4 inch channel iron, cut it diagonal like that. I have 2 of these. And then I took a piece of 1/4 inch steel, and I'm adding a gusset because this sidewall here is only 2 inches, and I would have liked to have it so I would have more this way, but that's the material I had, so that's what I used. So you can see that I have this center post. It's level, obviously. So this is just gonna go like on the side of my frame where the roll cage is gonna mount, like that. Right, and then the roll cage too will go right in the center of this. So back here, just got this roll cage tacked in. So I'm gonna have to cut this to the length down in here, and then mount this, and then weld the cage to it. I might even add some gussets. Once the tube's on here, add some gussets to the tube. Just give it more surface area for weld and holding, because this is the main hoop. These other ones up here, you can see, I just got them tacked in. Get out a flashlight quick. You can see in there that I have an outrigger, same basic concept down there, and then it's tied into this little reinforcement here too, and it's welded on all 3 sides. And then here, as I already showed you, I have that. See this other side, I have the same basic setup, so that'll give me a little bit of extra reinforcement there. And then on this side here, the driver's side, I'm actually gonna have another little sort of attachment point here for a fold-out or a fold-out bar. What the hell's it called? The bar that you can take in and out, basically. So it'll come out from here and then go up to here. So if I'm racing on the track, I can put this bar in. For normal street driving, I won't have it in because it's gonna be kind of sitting next to me and kind of uncomfortable and hard to get over with this small door opening. Anyways, so I'll have that for when I'm racing, and that'll add some more structural stability this direction. All right, and then I gotta do the same thing here with D-bars that'll come down from about here and then on the inside to here. And then I'll have kind of the same basic setup in here, a little bit smaller, and then I'll attach to that, and that'll keep this roll cage from collapsing inwards. So if you think about it, when you roll a car, this stuff is going to want to collapse inwards, and this is going to want to collapse down. So what you want to do is you want to try and stop that, obviously. So if you look right here, I have these bars a little bit tilted this way. That gives you more strength because it's pushing against it this way slightly versus just straight where there's side-to-side movement theoretically. I have this top bar just sitting in there, just wedged in there, but it's still at a point. It's right where I'm sitting. I can still see the edge of this, so it's not getting in my way, but it's still low, and it's not going to be in my way of my anything up here, and I might even have like gauges up here. Okay, I could have put this higher and I could have moved it back this way or whatever, but I decided not to because it's less chance hitting my head on something when I'm trying to get in and out. Long day's done. You can see I've been working on the roll cage some more. Got the D pillars welded in here on each side, and I got that thing mounted there for the main hoop on each side. You can see that I got the roll cage welded. Some of the welds didn't turn out as nice as I'd hoped they would, but it's having a few problems with my welder, and oh well, right? Anyways, they were all welded. All posts are welded all the way around. Nice and strong, nice and sturdy. Down here I got the gussets, down there I got gussets, D-bars, main pillar, forward hoops. Not bad for my first try at a cage. So that's done, I think. Unless I decide to add more gussets or anything like that. I actually didn't weld in the seatbelt bar yet, so I guess I shouldn't say it's done. I wanted to be able to remove this for when I do my floor, just to keep it out of my way. Makes more sense that way. I'll probably add this after I do all the seats and everything. That way I know that it's at the proper height. But this is about where everything should sit. So that's how I made my roll cage. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. You can also follow me on Facebook at Tinman2 Kustoms, or you can add me on Facebook, Luke Merrill, Merrill. I don't mind having you guys as friends, so feel free to hit me up. Also, don't forget, every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, there'll be a new episode of this build. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.